The world is draped in white, an endless, dazzling canvas of snow and ice stretching as far as the eye could see. Imagine standing on a vast frozen plain where the very air seems to crackle with cold, each breath a visible plume against the sharp, biting wind. This is not just a landscape. It is a realm sculpted by the relentless and unforgiving power of the Ice Age, a frozen ocean of ice and snow dominating the horizon, an eternal winter that has shaped the earth itself. The Pleistocene epoch, known simply as the Ice Age, was a time of dramatic and often brutal climate shifts. Massive glaciers, like silent titans, advanced and retreated, carving deep valleys, towering mountains, and sweeping plains. The earth beneath was reshaped by these glaciers' slow but powerful march, leaving behind a legacy of jagged landscapes and icy deserts. The sun, when it did rise, was a pale, distant orb, its warmth diminished, casting long, cold shadows across the endless white. The light that bounced off the snow created an ethereal glow, otherworldly and surreal, like a world caught between dream and reality. This frozen world was no quiet, lifeless wasteland. It was alive with the sound of the wind, howling like ancient ghosts, carrying tiny shards of ice that stung any exposed skin like needles. The gusts tested everything, the land, the animals, and the creatures who dared to call this place home. Survival here was not a mere idea. It was a visceral, every moment reality. Every decision, every step, was weighed against the harshness of the elements, the scarcity of food, and the dangers lurking in the shadows. In this frozen expanse, vast herds of colossal beasts roamed. The woolly mammoth covered in thick shaggy fur to fend off the cold with tusks, curved like ancient weapons. Mighty rhinoceroses armored in heavy coats slowly plodding across the snowy steppe. Giant bison and horses adapted to the bitter chill. These animals were the giants of their time, their massive bodies and thick hides testament to an environment that demanded resilience and strength. Their footsteps, muffled by deep snow, left transient marks in a landscape that seemed otherwise eternal and unchanging. Amid this harsh wilderness, a different kind of human lived, the Neanderthals. For hundreds of thousands of years, they thrived here, masters of this frozen domain, often misunderstood and unfairly maligned in popular imagination. Neanderthals were not the brutish cavemen we once thought. They were a sophisticated and resilient people, perfectly adapted to the extremes of the Ice Age. Their story is one of endurance, intelligence, and profound humanity, a narrative etched into the very bones they left behind and artifacts scattered across the frozen ground. Contrary to old stereotypes, Neanderthals were not stooped, grunting relics of the past. They had their own unique culture and ways of life, a parallel humanity that walked the earth alongside us but on a distinct path. Their faces show strength and complexity. Their skulls house minds capable of deep thought, innovation, and feeling. Archaeological discoveries have unveiled glimpses of their inner worlds. Collections of beautifully chosen crystals, delicate shells from distant seas, and eagle talons shaped into jewelry. These items suggest they experienced curiosity and aesthetic appreciation, a capacity for wonder and symbolic thought once thought exclusive to modern humans. Their compassion shines brightest in the stories told by their skeletons. Many Neanderthal remains reveal injuries so severe that survival would have been impossible without care. Limbs broken and healed, wounds mended over years. These were individuals nurtured by their communities, fed when food was scarce, shielded from the brutal cold and predators. This is evidence of empathy and social bonds that transcend survival instinct, a deep, shared responsibility to care for one another, echoing the very essence of what it means to be human. Physically, Neanderthals were marvels of evolutionary engineering. Their stocky, muscular bodies retained heat efficiently in the frigid air. Their broad noses warmed and humidified the cold air before it reached their lungs. Their dense bones and powerful limbs gave them strength and endurance to hunt enormous prey and endure the harshest conditions. Their higher metabolic rate was like a furnace, burning calories rapidly to generate vital warmth. A constant demand for energy-rich food, mainly meat and fat from the giant herbivores that roamed the mammoth steppe. Fire was the lifeblood of Neanderthal society. Unlike earlier humans, who may have only used fire opportunistically, Neanderthals mastered fire-making, controlling and nurturing flames to bring warmth, light, and safety. Around these flickering hearths, their communities gathered, cooking meat, crafting tools, and weaving the threads of social life. Their technology was impressive. The Mousterian tool culture, featuring expertly crafted flip blades made with the precise Levallois technique, speaks to their intelligence and skill. These tools enabled them to hunt, scrape hides, and butcher animals with deadly efficiency. But Neanderthal life was not only about survival, it was also about meaning. They adorned themselves with pigments, ochre and manganese dioxide, coloring shells and talons, perhaps as jewelry or symbols of identity. These early acts of self-expression marked the dawn of art and symbolic thought. They imbued the world around them with meaning, transforming simple natural objects into emblems of culture. Perhaps the most profound testament to their humanity is their treatment of the dead. At sites like Shanidar Cave, archaeologists have found carefully buried Neanderthal skeletons, sometimes accompanied by flowers or arranged with intention. This ritual care hints at beliefs, grief, and respect, and perhaps even notions of an afterlife. The story of the old man of Shanidar, who survived crippling injuries thanks to the care of his group, reveals a society bound by empathy and mutual support. Yet, after hundreds of thousands of years reigning over Ice Age Europe and Asia, the world began to change. A new species appeared, Homo sapiens, taller, slimmer, with different skull shapes and a rapidly evolving technology. These newcomers brought innovations such as fine blades, harpoons, and needles for sewing fitted clothing, reflecting a mind geared toward rapid invention and complex symbolic language. There are flourishing cave paintings, figurines, and musical instruments, a new way of seeing and shaping the world. The encounter between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens was not a single moment of conflict, but a complex, prolonged dance of interaction. For thousands of years, they shared landscapes, competed for resources, and sometimes lived side by side. Genetic evidence proves they interbred, their DNA living on in most humans outside Africa. Today, a lasting legacy of connection amid competition. Competition was subtle and complex. Both species hunted the same animals, sought the same shelters, and fought for the best flint sources. Homo sapiens' advanced projectile weapons and larger social networks gave them a survival advantage, enabling faster adaptation to the unstable climates and changing environments that began to dominate at the end of the Ice Age. The Neanderthals, specialists of the cold, were increasingly challenged by shrinking open steppes replaced by dense forests, shifts in animal migration, and dwindling resources. Small, isolated groups faced inbreeding and vulnerability. Their extinction was not sudden, but a slow fading, a twilight of a species exquisitely adapted to a world that was no longer there. But the story does not end with their disappearance. The Neanderthal legacy lives on, not as a distant curiosity, but within us. The 1 to 4% of Neanderthal DNA carried by non-African humans influences our immune systems, skin pigmentation, hair types, and even our vulnerabilities to certain diseases. This complex inheritance is a testament to their resilience and adaptability, woven into the fabric of our own species. Far from a failed experiment, Neanderthals were a brilliant, resourceful people whose story enriches our understanding of humanity itself. Their lives and struggles are chapters in the greater human saga, a reminder that our roots are shared, tangled, and deep. They were not just ancestors but neighbors, relatives, and fellow survivors of an icy, beautiful world shaped by the rhythms of ice and fire. In their story, we find reflections of ourselves in resilience, ingenuity, and compassion, enduring across the ages in a frozen world that once was.